Rich is president of UPS for the Northeast District. He's currently the chairman of the board of directors for the United Way of New England. He's a member of Rivier's President's Circle Steering Committee, and he serves on the board of directors for Junior Achievement of Eastern Massachusetts. Effective December 2010, Rich will serve on the board of Boston's Chamber of Commerce. We're honored to have Rich join us today to talk about leadership. Please join me in welcoming him.
I'm from New York. I'm a Yankee fan. We'll just get past that right now. I remember starting at UPS, and I never thought that I would be a president of UPS, to be quite honest with you. I started as a driver, and things just happened. I was put in positions. I had great success, and they just got another operation and had more success, and it was kind of developed over time. And I think that sometimes you learn by being in it. Sometimes you learn from standing on the sidelines and watching people do it. So I had the experience of actually being in it, rather than coming up for 5 or 6 or 10 years, watching a lot of people do it. I was thrown in quickly and kind of, and if I look back on it now, I could tell you that there was probably an easier way to get it done than being thrown in it and learning it. But the organization did a great job, and UPS does a terrific job with developing talent, identifying people that they think have chances of greater responsibility, and then tracking them through their career and making sure they give them the opportunities to advance. In my experience, I find leadership to be the ability of a person really to establish direction, motivate others to action to achieve a common goal. It sounds like a simple task, but really is a giant hurdle to overcome for leaders in any size organization. It's really the challenge is to motivating a diverse workforce made up from people of multiple generations, cultures, education, and experience levels, economic backgrounds, and of course men and women. Hiring needs have changed and evolved over time. Gone are the days when people would come to work at one job and stay there their careers. Companies today face a young workforce that's increasingly transient, has a higher expectation for itself and for its employers, has greater access to information, and brings with it considerable lifestyle management considerations. So there's been many labels given to the diversity of employees that we deal with today. The first group is called the matures, which is probably the politically correct way of saying that you're over 60. Baby boomers, Generation X, and Generation Y. A leader, an effective leader, must be able to work with all of these people effectively to achieve the goals. So let's talk about a mature. They've lived through it all. It's a group, they've experienced high and low points in the economy, lived through wars, births, deaths, changing politics, and a variety of other life experiences. They're usually content to simply perform their work every day, giving their best efforts to the company. They're reliable, maintain an exemplary attendance record. They're not usually aggressive seeking to advance, but content rather than just to sit and wait for retirement. Life and work experience this group can be of enormous value to a company. They are the keepers of the culture. They're the glue that maintains a corporate value and ensures it's passed down to the younger generation. Ask a mature for an opinion on any work problem, and this person will quickly dive into a dissertation for about 20 minutes to let you know how we did it 3 times before. So you can't ignore that group. They have a vast amount of knowledge. But I think taking that knowledge and moving it to this next group, which are the boomers, they were named, the baby boomers, also known as boomers, were named by a group after World War II when they returned home somewhere between World War II and 64 to 69. There's about 75 million boomers in the U.S., which currently represent about 29% of the U.S. population. Many went to work for a company, worked their way up, and enjoying the fruits of their labor. Many boomers plan to retire in a few years. Some will embark on a second career. They are entrepreneurs who work independently on a task, but are not usually effective in groups. This demographic appreciates the desires for recognition for excellent individual performance. A simple pat on the back is often enough to keep a boomer motivated. Their output may decline if their efforts are not recognized. People born between 1965 and 1980s are commonly referred to as Generation X. They tend to be independent, entrepreneurial, and try to acquire skills and experience to spice up their resumes. Gen X employees want a career path laid out with a timeline for advancement, and they show little hesitation for changing employers when they're not satisfied. Gen Xers seek a balance of work and personal life now, not at retirement. They want time to raise their children and be involved in their lives. Gen X employees desire honest, immediate feedback as well as regular evaluations. Today's leaders ignore this group at their own peril. it can be very frustrating for a company to invest in training of a group of Gen Xers just to see them hop to another company. This certainly can be avoided. Now, we're going to talk about Gen Y, which you're going to almost appreciate the Gen Xers in a minute when you hear about the Gen Ys, but how do you lead that group? So Generation Y, they are certainly the biggest challenge today. They're born from the mid-'80s to now. They're the fastest growing segment of the workforce today at about 70 million members. As corporations compete for talent, employers cannot ignore the needs, desires, and attitudes of this vast generation. This demographic is the focus of most recruitment efforts today. Gen Y employees share some common traits. This is a technology-focused employment group who's plugged in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, via smartphones, laptop, e-readers, iPods, and whatever else you can think of. This generation prefers to communicate through email and text message rather than speak face-to-face. I've seen them in rooms communicating at the same table. They could talk to each other, but they send text messages. Their preferred method for learning involves technology rather than face-to-face. Pay can be less important than fewer hours, flexible schedules, and a pleasant work environment, and to a work-life balance. But the problem with this is they're often viewed by generations lacking discipline, commitment, as a prioritize, because they prioritize family over work. But they are ambitious, they're confident, and they have a desire to achieve their goals. They want strong leadership from their employers. They have no problem questioning authority, Lord knows, when they disagree or feel like the work isn't meaningful. When you think about the different workforces and the folks that we're dealing with as leaders, I think that we need to be able to understand who we're dealing with. Right? We have, and I can tell you that we have a diverse group at UPS. How do you motivate them all when you know the differences between? Knowing the differences certainly helps to decide how I'm going to move this group. How do I train them? I have boomers and I have this younger managed people in the same room. I lose the younger folks because it's not interactive, it's not on a computer, and the boomers are asleep in front of a computer. So it's really a challenge, I think, for a leader to be able to take a group, understanding the differences, and motivating them to go forward. And I think the most frustrating part of my job is that we sometimes want more for people than they want for themselves. So that's the trick, is being able to say, this is where I want to be, this is a company that has the future for me, how do I work with the person I'm working with to interweave what I have going on in my life with what I need to do at work. And I think that's when you can do that, you're successful, both as a person growing up in an organization and then certainly one leading the organization in the future. The challenge for us today is how we deal with the youngest generation in a company that, when you started at UPS, they told me you're going to work half days. I didn't realize that was 12 hours a day. 24-hour clock, not the 8-hour clock. It's a company that doesn't, we get in early, we stay late. We deliver and pick up packages early morning, late at night. And so we never look at a clock, and you just work until the job's done. Folks coming in today want to look at a clock. They want to know if they're coming in at 8 or leaving at 5. And that's a real rub with some of the folks that have been around a long time. So we're working through that as we speak to try to get the older group to understand that because here's the deal, you're going to hire your next vice president, your president, or your CEO tomorrow, and you don't want to lose them. So the quicker you understand that this is the way the group is, the quicker you understand how to adopt them into your culture, and not change your culture, but adopt them into it, I think the better off the company's going to be in the long run. Thanks very much, I appreciate it.
Again, we really appreciate your time for being here and talking with us, and for all that you do for RIV. His involvement on our President's Circle Steering Committee has been excellent. We really appreciate that. To our M.B.A. students in Dr. Kavenzer's class, I just want to say hello to you and congratulate you on your upcoming graduation. We hope you'll stay connected with us after you graduate and come back for some alumni events as well. And for everyone, our biggest alumni event of the year is our reunion weekend in June. So consider saving the date, June 10th through the 12th, and watch your mailbox for information. It's a great weekend with a lot of fun activities, so we hope to see you there as well. And again, I thank you for being here tonight.